بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
King Islam is a king, a hot, cold, pure pressure surround us, but we won't fold when times become tough. Remember Jannah?
It was difficult, even for the Sahabas. No success without struggle. Keep my best friends Muslim, so we're always out of trouble. Checking our ideas the way we think.
So this believer says on that day, I wish I had taken a path, a lifestyle along the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ya waylata. One of the great scholars of the Arabic language, Dr. Fadl Salih Hassan al-Rahim, very impressed with his work. You know, he described in one of his lectures the difference between Ya waylati and Ya waylata. And actually, normally you say Ya waylati, and this has been asalib al-ta'ajjub, he says. It's from the forms of shock. When you see something you can't believe what's happening, you say Ya waylati. Actually, even nowadays in modern Arabic, they say Ya wayli when something shocking happens. But the ta is used to express even more shock, and when that shock is actually mixed with sadness. When there's hasra in it, when there's huzn in it, when there's gham in it, when there's bath in it, when there's sadness mixed into your cry, then you say Ya waylata. And that's what the ayah begins. Then it says laytani. If only. There's two kalimat, one of shock and one of like depression. Why did I mess up? I had such an opportunity to make better decisions, and I'm looking back now and I couldn't have done it. The Urdu, you know, in English it's not really a word. We say, oh, if only. That's the expression for later. The Arabic, you know, the Urdu speakers, they say kash, but even who uses kash anymore? Most of your kids don't know what kash means, right? But it's looking back in sadness. Laytani. Oh, if only. And what does he say looking back? Lam attakhidh fulanan khalila. Beautiful words. He says, if only I didn't take so-and-so, some dude, as a friend. Look at this. Ar-Rasul, in the previous ayah. I should have been alongside the Messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And in the next line he says, man, I wish I didn't take that guy as my friend. Which guy? The guy that took you away from the Messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The guy that made you do things that the Messenger would never do, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The friends that made you talk in a way that the Messenger would never approve of, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You have those kinds of friends. There are some of you that are good people, but you have bad friends. And when you hang out with your friends, you become bad people. And you will not be able to blame your friends on that day like this guy is doing. It won't work. And by the way, those friends are so useless, even though you call them every day, you check their Facebook posts every day, you text them every day, you check their tweets every day, you're following them on Twitter, you care about them today. But on Judgment Day, you can't even remember the guy's name, you call him Fulan. Fulan means so-and-so, etc., etc. What was that guy's name again? That's how this is described on Judgment Day. In the previous, and by the way, on that day, because you didn't care about the Messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in this life, the Messenger was nobody to you. But then the Messenger is ma'rifah, ar-Rasul. Ya laytani, you know, ya'uddu al-zalimu ala yaday. Qala, you know, ittakhadhtu ma'a ar-Rasuli sabila. I took a path, if only I took a path with the Messenger. But when it comes to his actual friend, he can't even remember his name. That's the reality of those kinds of friends. You won't even know their names when Judgment Day comes. They'll just be a fulan to you. Fulan just means so-and-so. That's what they'll be to you and to me. We have to make a really good assessment of who our friends are and what kind of lifestyle they're leading us down.
يُعْرَفُ الْمَرْءُ بِخَلِيلِهِ فَلْيَنْظُرْ أَحَدُكُمْ مَنْ يُخَالِلْ. A person is known by the friends that he or she has, and therefore it is very important for every one of you to select their friends, his or her friends, very carefully, and to make sure that they have not befriended those who will have a negative impact on them. These teachings of the blessed Prophet Muhammad, may peace be upon him, are priceless. Because if he says a person is known by the type of friends he or she keeps, what we need to realize is that is exactly the way it will be. For example, and I'm going to give you just an example off the cuff, if a person's friends are all on drugs, there is a 99% chance that that particular person is also on drugs, even though they might hide it very well to their family members and others. And what is it in common between them if they were not on drugs? However, sometimes, and this is 1% of the time, where a person has 30 friends and all of them are on drugs and they are claiming that they are not on drugs, there is a 1% chance that they may be telling the truth. And perhaps they may be working on those friends of theirs. However, there is a greater chance of them deviating. And for this reason, you know, there is an English saying, birds of a feather flock together. It is important for us to know we interact with, we mix with people who are like-minded, people who think in a similar manner, people who understand a specific type of understanding. When they discuss, they have a certain level of discussion. So those we consider our friends. That is point number one, which means it's important to mix with like-minded people, those who will not mess our habits, those whom we will be able to develop with and through, rather than losing and becoming negative in the process. Sometimes people ask us a question, and that question is answered also in the religion, that if I were to be in good company, that which is good for me, those people who are good for me, I might be bad for them. So how do I know who is in good company and who is in bad company? Well, the religion has an answer for that, and it teaches us that if you have a good impact on someone, it means they are in good company, they have good friends. And if you are having a bad impact on them, then they are in bad company, and vice versa. Which means if they are having a bad impact on you, then you have bad friends. And if they are having a good impact on you, even though you might not be that grand a person, then they are definitely good company for you.
Wallahi, I don't speak from theory. I know good brothers that I used to meet. They used to be the first people at the Salat al-Fajr at the Masajid. There used to be people that were pioneering some of the da'wah work at MSAs and putting volunteer work together and humanitarian efforts and this and that and the other. And then something happened and they got into the bad company with their friends and they disappeared. They just disappeared. And what took them away? The wrong kind of friend. The wrong kind of friends. That's it. That's all it was. Bad company. Those people are not your friends. Get that through your heads. Especially the young guys that are sitting here. Those guys are not your friends. You know the guys that use foul language? And you realize it's a bad thing to hear or say. So you don't say it. At least, they say it, but I don't say it. No, it has an impact on you. It's tearing your soul down from the inside. It's eating away at you. And eventually, they will pull you away. And eventually, those words will come out of your mouth. You know, al-ina'u bima fihi yandah, they say in Arabic. A container only gives out what it contains. If bad words are going into your ears, bad words are going to come out of your tongue. If you're seeing evil all the time going in, then evil actions will come out. They'll come out. They don't just stay in. You can't just pretend that the things you watch and the things you hear and the places you go will not have an impact on your character. They will. And we don't want to be of those people who regret having the wrong kinds of friends on Judgment Day. What this means then is you and I have to make a solid effort to find the company of people that make us more respectable. They make our manners better. They make our speech better. They make us more courteous. They make us more patient. You know, they make us, better people. And my personal advice to you is if you have elders in your family, spend more time with them. You'll learn patience. You will learn patience. And if you have an ego problem, if you have a pride problem, spend a lot of time with your parents, because they will put you down all the time and it'll burn you and you'll become humble. Spend a lot of time with your parents. I know you don't like spending time with your parents because your dad's always telling you stuff and you're like, I don't want to hear this. It's good for you. It's good for you. It builds your character, it builds your humility. Now there's a reason Allah told us to spend time with our parents, and there's a reason Allah told us to be patient with them. Allah does not tell us to be patient with our friends. He doesn't give us a specific ayah in the Qur'an to be patient with anybody else, but with parents. With parents. And He tells us be patient with the enemies of Islam, and He tells us to be patient with parents. Why? Because parents can say things that test your patience. Allah knows. Allah knows. And that's why He told you to do it. And it builds your character. Anyhow, coming back to this beautiful passage, لَقَدْ أَضَلَّنِي عَنِ الذِّكْرِ بَعْدَ إِذْ جَاءَنِي. He made me slip away from the remembrance, the Qur'an, after it had come to me. It doesn't even say عَنْ ذِكْرٍ. He said al-dhikr. Even Qur'an He remembers specifically. The Qur'an used to be recited, there were halaqat being offered. I could have been in company that could have brought me closer to Allah's word, and therefore closer to becoming a better person. But I said, nah, go to the Qur'an halaqah or go catch a movie tonight. I don't know. I'll just go catch a movie. He kept putting me away from the remembrance. Even after it had come to me. بَعْدَ إِذْ جَاءَنِي. You don't even have to go to the remembrance, it comes to you. By the way, this part of the ayah is even more true today than it was then. Back then, somebody might hear the Qur'an, somebody might hear the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and somebody might not hear. But today there is no excuse. How many apps, how many downloads, how many books, how many websites, how many YouTube videos that you can access Allah's message, that you can access explanations of the Qur'an, recitation of the Qur'an. You know, there's no excuse. It's coming to you. It's coming to you, and you're ignoring it, and you're saying, no, I'd rather search for something else. I'd rather go some other way. And this guy on Judgment Day is blaming his friend for doing so. وَكَانَ الشَّيْطَانُ لِلْإِنسَانِ خَذُولًا. Very interesting word Allah uses. Allah's commentary at the end. Some say this is Allah's commentary at the end. Shaitan, when it comes to the human being especially, is khadul. Khadul is a kind of friend who leaves you at the right moment. Like there's a friend who always, like, he's hanging out with you, he's chilling with you, he's your bro. You know, he's always there for you until the time comes when you need him. And when the time comes when you need him, he's gone. Nowhere to be found. And when the time of need is over, then he's back again, he's your bro again. That kind of friend is called khadul. Allah says that's what shaitan is. He's always there with you. And you don't see shaitan. It's not like the cartoon shaitan with the horn sticking out and the tail in the back and a pitchfork. That's not shaitan. Shaitan comes to you in waswasa. Shaitan comes to you through your friend. Shaitan comes to you through your screen on your mobile device. That's how he comes to you. And he says, I'm giving you what you want, bro. I'm looking out for you. Until Judgment Day shows up and he leaves you and you're like, where'd he go? I thought I was doing this for myself. I thought he was looking out for me. This is the trickery of shaitan. Don't be fooled that the urges you have, and all young men have urges. They have temptations. They have feelings inside that are raging. And shaitan comes and says, come on, act on your feelings. Come on, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. You could do whatever you want. It's not so bad. And we fall into that trap. And this is the khadal of shaitan. This is the deception of shaitan. That he'll leave us on the right moment. He just gives us so much motivation to do the wrong thing. To just get us to that point. And this guy is Allah is recording the speech of an average person who ignored the reminder. And he's giving the khutbah now, on Judgment Day. Oh man, shaitan got me.
What we also need to know is, do not allow anyone who wants you to be their friend to actually be your friend. The reason is, you need to choose your friends. Do not let those who want you as their friend always be your friend, because they may not be material of friendship. That friendship may end in, or it may result in you degrading yourself, dropping yourself. People who mix with others who swear a lot, they will end up swearing. People who mix with others who go to the nightclubs and who go to the pubs and the places of drinking and so on, they will end up doing the same because of peer pressure. So not everything that they do is right, and therefore we should not allow them within a specific circle. The next point I'd like to make mention of is, we need to have circles of relation. When we say circles of relation, you have the innermost circle, and then you have a slightly bigger circle, or a circle that is made up of people who are not as close, and thereafter those who are not even as close as those, and thereafter just acquaintances. The reason we say circles is, there are some people who are so close that we can share much more with them, whereas others we need to hold them at an arm's length, with respect, with love, with care. Love for our deen, for our religion, for our maker, for the entire community at large. But that love should be based on our understanding of what love is. It does not mean that you love someone so you drop all barriers and you let them have whatever they need and want. No. We need to realize that certain people are within a closed circle. There are others whom we might not trust that much. We might not have tested that trust yet. We might not know exactly where they're standing, and for that reason we won't share so much information, we won't enjoy such intimate relation with them and so on. because of their distance with us. Also, what is very important is, as friends, the Qur'an says, الْأَخِلَّاءُ يَوْمَئِذٍ بَعْضُهُمْ لِبَعْضٍ عَدُوٌّ إِلَّا الْمُتَّقِينَ. The close friends, we normally use the term bosom buddies, those who are very close. We find the Qur'an says they will be enemies on the day of judgment, except for those who used to be conscious of their Maker. The reason the Qur'an says this is because there are so many people who are close to each other, but that friendship has not led them to become closer to their Maker. And for this reason, on the day of resurrection, they will say, I wish that I had had such and such a person as a friend rather than this one. Or, I wish I did not have this particular person as a friend of mine because they led me astray. They took me away from the worship of the Maker. They took me away from goodness and they took me to that which was evil. And for this reason, they have resulted in my destruction today. And this is why I wish and I hope and I wish that I didn't have these people as my friends. Now, what we need to learn is, when a person's friendship has not drawn both of them closer to the Almighty, they are at loss. Some people know each other because of wealth. Some people know each other because of something else. Maybe they go to school together, or they enjoy a sport, they play golf together, or whatever else they do together. We need to know that that needs to stay within that circle. It does not mean they will now come into your home and you will allow them to come into your home without vetting their children and the way they've brought up their children, because sometimes you might have suffered to bring up your children in such a good way, and because you've allowed the children of someone whom you considered a friend into your home, they may then spoil the tongues of your children, the eyes of your children. The way your children have been brought up can all be literally poured water over within moments because of your mistake of not knowing the barrier and where to put it between you and a certain acquaintance of yours. So with us, we must be beneficial to those who have befriended us, or those whom we've allowed to befriend. If they are making a mistake, it is our duty to tell them that you are going wrong here. And if we don't tell them, we are going to be making an even bigger mistake. We are going to be responsible on the day of judgment. The Almighty is going to ask us, I made you a friend of so-and-so. Why did you not remind them of their duty towards me? You saw them going wrong and you'd never ever batted an eyelid. You never ever told them that what you are doing is wrong, what you are saying is wrong. Now, what we need to learn as well from this is, never feel bad when you are corrected. Because sometimes when a person is corrected, if he or she feels bad, nobody's going to correct them in the future. So if I feel bad because someone has highlighted a mistake I am making, the only way I will excel is when I thank them and I really think of what they have to say. And sometimes I might feel that maybe they have not understood me properly, but the minimum is I have taken their advice, I have not disrespected them, they have been genuine to me, they have corrected me, and I need to thank the Almighty that certain people are there to correct me. There is a growing trend amongst the young. They do not want to be told anything sometimes. If that is the case, how are we going to develop? How will we grow? How will we become closer to our Maker? How will we be able to succeed in this world and the next? For example, a man whose wad of notes is sticking out of his pocket, either the side pockets or the top pockets, and someone were to say, brother, your money is sticking out of your pocket. And he says, hey, who are you to tell me? I don't want to listen. Why do you talk to me? Well, they are foolish. The thief will come and take that money and they will regret. The next time we see the money almost dangling to the floor, we will keep quiet because we know the answer we had the last time. This will result in loss of wealth and lots of destruction. It's important for us to know when people correct us, be happy. If someone says, look brother or look sister, I think you are making a mistake, that is true friendship. They have a genuine feeling for us. And for this reason, we need to befriend those whom we will be able to learn from. And I hope and I pray we have had a piece of advice regarding friends. It's a very interesting topic, it's very long, but as you know, we would like to only mention a few points so that people can digest what we are saying. And until we meet again, we say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Never, ever has a group come from within our tradition performing acts of terrorism, killing innocent people, wanton violence, and then they have brought about everlasting peace and good from this movement.